Hello. So I'm super happy to announce that I am finally starting book 3 of Throne of Glass, which is called Heir of Fire. I have finally decided what reading order I'm going to do. So after book 3, which is Heir of Fire, I'm going to start book technically 0.5, but the 4th book published, which is Assassin's Blade. So basically, if you don't know, Heir of Fire takes place chronologically after Crown of Midnight, so it'll just continue to flow how I've been reading it. But the Assassin's Blade is going to take me back in time to what happened before the first book, which is Throne of Glass. And I'm gonna get a look at Sam, and I'm so excited to meet Sam. Yeah, kind of get to see what it was actually like for Selena to be an assassin. And that is the order that Sarah J. Maas, the author, recommends to read it, so I'm very excited to be doing that. But I've been looking forward to starting this book all day, and I finally have some time to read, so let's finally start. Hi. Let's talk about something, because I have barely gotten into Heir of Fire, and already I have met Rowan and I know who Aelin is as well. And before I even started this series, I thought that Rowan and Aelin were the two main characters. I did not know who either of those people were in the first 2 books. I'm honestly glad, because then when I was scrolling through Instagram and stuff, like, I wasn't getting spoiled because, you know, these other characters, I was like, who are they? Because so far we've only been following Selena and Chaol and Dorian. I don't know if this makes sense, but so far though, Selena is very, very depressed, and it's rough. She has lost all hope and all just will to live at this point, and it's kind of sad reading it, but I heard that this has a lot of character development, so hopefully we'll get to that. Also, so far, my first impressions of Rowan are kind of no impression. He's kind of just boring, and this is not how I expected to meet Rowan, because it's not a very, like, grand introduction to his character, but nonetheless, we continue. I have something very important to say, and that is chapter 28 of Heir of Fire, in my head, is identical to the Twilight running scene. Okay, that's my update, that's all. Hi. So, it's time for a little update, because I have some things to say, and something has been really bothering me while I've been reading, because it happens pretty much every other page, and that is the amount of conversations that are being had between characters, specifically Aelin and Rowan, where no words are exchanged, and the conversation happens based on reading expressions, right? There's like no internal bond or like something like that where they can like talk to each other without like speaking out loud. It's simply her being like, oh, his face seemed to say this, so I responded with a face that seemed to say blank, and it's like, I'm sorry, how do you know that he's getting that message, and like you are totally misinterpreting what he's saying? I don't know. So I have an example. His green eyes flashed, but he held his stare. It fed on me and would have turned me into a husk, she silently said. Okay, that was said out loud. We could have easily met that fate right now. You were unprepared, he seemed to say, and I was not with you. This is insane. I faced one of the defective ones too, and it almost killed me. One of these conversations happened, and I didn't screenshot it, but it's a good example because I assumed it would only happen once, but it keeps happening, where pretty much my whole like Kobo screen was just not real conversation. And I don't know, that's not how I talk to people, but they could be different, I'm not sure. Anyways, that's all. But I thought I would share. I am not okay. I am the opposite of okay in the most extreme way. I literally just went through an emotional roller coaster getting to relive Aelin's like true backstory with like her parents and her childhood, and literally the most dramatic near-death experience, and then to whatever end. But then when Rowan literally comes back with "I claim you too, Aelin Galathynius." I've been waiting so long. I can't. This has been the most intense scene ever. I've been reading for literally like 2 hours straight, just like binging. It's literally an addiction at this point, and I am so obsessed. It's unhealthy. It's probably bad at this point, but I don't care. I literally... This has been an amazing battle scene and so well done, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Send help. Okay, remember when I was saying in a previous video that I thought Throne of Glass Book 1 was a 5-star read? It was amazing. It was a fantastic... No, because this is a 6-star. I'm making up a new rating because it went past the scale. You know what I'm saying? Also, don't cancel me, but I really don't care about Manon or Manon, however you say it. Every single name has 2 pronunciations, apparently, at this point. It's like the Rhysand Rysand situation all over again. Okay. Hello. I need to turn the fan off. Hang on. Hi. So I finished Heir of Fire, and that has so far been the best book in the entire series. The first thing I have to say is wow to the character development that Aelin went through in this book. If you see her from like literally page 1, like a completely different person. She's literally like on the roof, drinking her problems away, depressed, all this stuff. And then, you know, she figures out who she is, who her like mission is, truly like what she wants to do in the world, and like is more motivated than ever. And like, it's so impressive that that took place in one book. And I loved it so much. I obviously gave it 5 stars. Get to meet Rowan for the first time in this book, and he started out pretty rough. Like, he was not the greatest. Not that he said much anyways. And, you know, he can only be dark and mysterious for so long. But their payoff was definitely worth it. And so now I'm moving on to The Assassin's Blade. So we get love interest number 4. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, but I loved Heir of Fire so much, and I cannot wait to continue the series. So here's my deal. When I was reading book 1 and 2, all I wanted to do was read The Assassin's Blade, because I think that in the 3rd book, our main character is so far away from who she was in Assassin's Blade, but in the first 2 books, she's very rooted in who she was in Assassin's Blade. So now I'm less interested in reading it now, but I was really interested in it before, so I'm sure I'm going to start it and it's going to be all good, but I think it's going to be weird to go back to the rest of the series and completely different person. And yeah, but loving it. Hello. So I just finished the first novella in The Assassin's Blade, and so far all I have to say is how is what needs to be accomplished going to be accomplished? You know, because unfortunately I know a lot about what happens in this book already, and so I'm trying to figure out how like so many things are gonna happen. I don't know. I trust Sarah though. It's really crazy to be back in Selena's perspective, but it's like old Selena, so it's pretty much, it feels like a different character, and it was a very like harsh transition from Heir of Fire to The Assassin's Blade, and like I'm obviously missing so many characters who I love, but I'm also gaining so many new characters, so it's like feels very separate, but I am enjoying it. Okay, I swear it's another day, but for some reason when I'm home I just slap on this sweatshirt. And so yeah, I've read novella 2 and 3, and my only question is, where's Sam? I don't see him. and that's upsetting. And it's okay, well, rip. Also, there's so many callbacks I really love, like the Asterian horses. We heard about those in Throne of Glass and like how she got them, but now we get to like actually get to experience that whole process of getting the horses. Even with Manon, we touch on like spider silk and all of its intricacies, and we get told like how to get it and stuff, and then later we see Manon actually get it. And so it's kind of cool to like have this information, and it kind of connects this book to the rest of the series and like keeps drawing ties, which I really love. So it's been very enjoyable. I'm on the 4th one now, and I feel like I'm probably gonna get it done real soon, but we will see. I'm a little scared to keep reading. Yeah. So unfortunately, I know how Assassin's Blade ends. The amount of foreshadowing that Sarah is putting in here and the amount of torture Sarah's putting in here. I'm on the last novella and I miss Sarah J. Maas. Who hurt you? Who? I really need to know because why? Literally, I don't know how someone could. I couldn't write this. I couldn't bring myself to put these words on the piece of paper. But it's amazing. I'm obsessed. I love you. So I'm recording this very late. I need a few days to recover. I can't. And I don't understand people who would read this book first. Okay. That's pretty much it. Just that I'm not okay. Yeah. Good morning. My throat is in so much pain, but I really wanted to film this clip because this is the last thing I kind of want to say. So I finished the Assassin's Blade, and I'm so glad that I read this series in publication order, because I don't think I would have cared if I read this one first, because that's what you would do if you were reading it chronologically. Yeah, I thought that like it was a fun adventure going with Selena and living this life, but I feel like the second and the third, well, mostly just the second novella was kind of like, I feel like didn't really connect much. It didn't really have a point. But at least I feel like the other novellas are kind of referenced later, and like they really do show important moments in her life. I feel like her and Sam's relationship really only existed in the first and last novella, and so it was like harder to get super attached to Sam. And I did not cry when a particular character died, although I did feel very sad, and I think that's mostly because we were out of the room when death was happening. So I do think that kind of like took away from it a little bit, but still very sad about that. And I'm excited to read the next book, but I'm also like, I kind of forget where Heir of Fire ended, so I feel like I should quickly like reread the last few chapters of that before I start, because I remember it being crazy, and like I remember some of what happened, but I feel like there's some things I forgot. Let's go read Queen of Shadows in part 3. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching me read part 2 of this series. So now I'm 4 books in and I'm starting the 5th book. See you in another vlog hopefully very soon. Bye.